Okay, and this part.
Okay, so listen to part of a lecture in a geography class of anywhere in the United States. It is in the southern coastlands that the climate has the greatest impact on human geography. There are several factors which affect human activity. Humid subtropical climate, a long growing season, mild winter temperatures, and warm, humid summers. So a long growing season is already implying point A. Because if it's a long growing season, you might get multiple crops. There are 9 months or more of potential growth for agricultural crops for almost the whole region of the southern coastlands. What is more, the average annual rainfall is more than 125 centimeters, mostly between April and October. When warm temperatures support plant growth and sunlight is plentiful, it is enough rain for more agricultural activities for almost the entire region. These climatic conditions have brought forth two important results. Farmers can grow their crops until late in the fall without fear of frost, as long as agricultural conditions are met. I mean, as long as there are fertile soil control of in sorry, as long as there are fertile soil, control of insect pests, and appropriate ground drainage. That's kind of a list. It has even been possible to harvest two crops and sometimes more for vegetable farmers. So
This is
this is
A again.
point A again, yeah.
Mm.
So it's possible to have two crops. So you plant and then you take them out and then you plant again and then you grow and take them out. Um, of greater importance is the fact that there is the chance to produce specialty crops that cannot be produced in other parts of
Yeah,
the
this
United
part,
States.
specialty crops. Yeah,
Yeah.
people in the region can grow a specialty crop. What does that
And citrus,
citrus fruit?
yeah, so things that don't grow anywhere else.
But citrus
Um,
can grow in Australia, I think, yeah, or no? Maybe.
anywhere else in the United States.
Okay.
Yeah, so there are places in Australia we can grow it as well. I think citrus is challenging because it needs warm
Water.
conditions
Yeah,
and water. It
yeah.
needs both. In Australia, there's an area that can grow citrus because of irrigation and redirection of rivers.
Mm.
Um, yeah, whereas
Which
in
part of
Florida,
Australia?
it's
Sydney.
inland. No, it grows inland Victoria and New South Wales along the border,
Oh. Mm.
where it's kind of quite warm and there's a big river system, and they have redirected some of that into irrigation. But in Florida, people threw the oranges, they threw the orange seeds away when they visited by ship, and then they would come back years later and there were oranges growing there spontaneously. So in Florida, they don't need irrigation, they just grow.
Are you sure? I haven't. Can I
Yes,
search it again? Florida.
in Florida, they oranges just grow. Um, they also do need to farm them to get the ones they want, but they grow very easily.
Yeah, it seems that we have some kind of Florida, USA. Yeah, it seems that people do that. Throwing seeds. Yeah, it seems that.
So they don't do it like this is what happened in history. They don't do it as an industry. Like when they want to grow them, they plant them deliberately, but it has happened.
So I will do the same thing in Australia. Maybe some of them grow near the river.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
Apples in Tasmania that happened.
Oh,
European settlers, they didn't plant apple trees, but they brought apples in barrels and they ate them and threw them away. And then when they came back by ship years later, there were apple trees growing everywhere.
oh,
They
good.
didn't need to plant them.
Mm, that's cool. So here,
So the southern coastlands, so they mean probably everything from the Carolinas down across Florida around to the coast of Texas. So it's quite a large stretch of the country.
outer coastline, is it in USA? Because I wanted to find, is it this part? This part, yeah?
Yep, all
Yeah.
along there.
Okay.
Yeah,
Alabama. Okay. Yeah, Florida, Louisiana, Mississippi. Okay.
yep. And obviously not all of Texas is like this, but
Mm.
the coast of Texas is.
Yeah, exactly.
Um, so then they talk about the different kinds of specialty crops. Although the region where citrus fruits has been produced has slowly moved southward along the peninsula, as interior citrus production has been noteworthy in contributing to Florida's economy. Of the seven major citrus fruit grown in Florida, so they grow seven different kinds of fruit. Oranges and grapefruits are most important. Most oranges, about 80% today, are processed rather than being sold fresh. The processing of oranges has had an effect on other parts of the economy as more people are employed in the industry, and sales are not limited to the harvest period but continue all year long. The grapefruit is produced in a similar area as the orange, but the demand and output is only about 25% of the orange. That's because people don't like them as much. These two citrus fruits are also grown in South Texas, but with irrigation, production costs for citrus fruits mainly come from harvesting. So production costs mainly come from harvesting. The fruit must be picked by hand from the trees,
So
but so that's not a cause. It depends what the question is, actually.
yeah, which one of them is mentioned in the text?
Is it just which one is mentioned? Because it's saying that migrant workers are needed. It's not saying that they're attracted there.
You're
Um,
right.
yeah, so it consequences of the warm weather and a lot of rainfall in the southern coastlands. Okay, so that it's about those geographical conditions, climate, weather, and rainfall, not about. So it's not the weather that attracts migrant workers, it's the industry that attracts them. So the chain of reasoning is different. It's
So
because there's good weather, that makes it easy to grow these fruit. And then that is the reason why you get migrant workers. So it's not a direct effect of the weather.
so when we say that, uh, what are the main consequences?
It says when warm temperatures support plant growth and sunlight is plentiful, it is enough rain for most agricultural activities for almost the entire region. Um, Farmers can grow their crops until late in the fall. And then it says it has even been possible to harvest two crops and sometimes more for vegetable farmers.
Mm.
So, so it is the rain and the sun that makes it possible to harvest more than two
But
crops
this is
in
a
a year.
but
Sufficient in itself, but it's necessary. So it is a consequence, but it's not the only thing that has to be done to make it happen.
so
It's a consequence of all of it together. Um, but I guess what they're saying is that that wouldn't be possible anywhere else, regardless of drainage and pesticides and all
mm,
that. You just can't do it in other regions.
mm, I think I got
Um,
it now.
it's sunny for 9 months of the year, so it is the warmer weather.
Hmm.
Um,
Now it
I,
can be.
I guess there's slippage there between lots of sun and warmth. I guess I guess it's a bit vague, isn't it? Because
Yes.
it could be warm without sun. If it, I don't know, if it was somewhere very rainy but tropical.